It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still a very big deal for studios to take young adult novels, YA as they call them, and adapt them into feature films, hoping to turn them into franchises. Of course, we've seen huge, massive hits like Twilight and Hunger Games, and even what was that one with the dystopian future and the kids had to fight to the death, or I can't remember the name of it now. Anyway, so they've done a bunch of these things. Well, now there's a new one coming out called Children of Blood and Bone. But there's drama afoot over at Paramount, Kel Supri, where the author of the book, and I'm never going to pronounce her name properly. I'm going to give it a shot. Tomi Adeyemi. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong. My apologies if I've never heard it spoken before. So, where the author of the book is straight up saying she will not watch the movie, and saying that the whole process has been quote unquote painful. And it says this, as Tomi Adeyemi's 2018 young adult novel makes its way to the big screen, she has no plan to watch the first film adaptation of her work. The Children of Blood and Bone author recently addressed a fan's question about why she hasn't spoken more about the upcoming Gina Prince Bythewood-helmed Paramount adaptation premiering on January 15th. The reason is, there is a reason I will not post anything about the adaptation of my work. That's all, she wrote in a DM that she shared on TikTok, but that's not where it ended. And lastly, since somebody asked, I have not seen the film and I will not watch it, added Adeyemi, who also co-wrote the film with Prince Bythewood. It's been painful holding this back from you all, and I'm sorry if any of you thought I didn't care about us more than any glitter. Goes on. She also shared a screenshot of a DM she apparently sent to, I always get this wrong, Amandla Stenberg, who was, of course, in The Acolyte, which is unfortunate, but she was also in, what is it? The Hate You Give, in which she was amazing in that.
Great.
Who plays Princess Amari in the film adaptation. This is what she said to her. Do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Do not text me. Do not call me, she wrote to Stenberg. Deadline has also reached out to Stenberg's reps. And of course, then the dreaded, she blocked her on social media. The button that says 1,000 words. Okay. Besides the salacious nature of this, it's like, ooh, drama. There's some actual real, like, big issues around this. And like certain questions get brought up in my head. Like, well, wait a minute. If you're kind of a partner with the studio here, like you sold the rights for them to be able to make it. You co-wrote the script. Maybe you don't have to lie, but should you be coming out and bashing publicly and bad-mouthing this movie when you took the check? Like, you took the money and you smiled. And like, maybe you just don't say anything if there's something going on. Like, don't lie, but maybe you just don't say anything. Just don't, like, is there a contractual issue here where you're coming out and slamming and bashing this project? That, I mean, let's face it, this is going to hurt the movie. This is absolutely going to hurt the movie. I don't know how much, but it's definitely going to hurt it. Having the author come out and slam you so clearly when she was so involved. Now, again, I don't want to sound like I'm passing judgment on her either, because for all we know, like, I don't know, Paramount executives broke into her house and killed her cats. And she's really upset, and she's legitimately is really mad and has legitimate gripes. That could be the case too. We are simply in the dark about it. We don't know. But, you know, all other things being equal, it feels kind of, I don't know, man, if you took the check, I think you've got an obligation to just stay quiet and let the movie play itself out. You don't have to come out and support it if you don't want to, but maybe just don't say anything. But again, I'm saying that from a position of ignorance because I don't know what the actual issues are. But clearly she feels very strongly. The other dynamic here, though, unfortunately, is this. Fair or unfair, right or wrong, there is a reality here, maybe unfortunate, that is any studio ever going to work with this author again? Like, is any studio, maybe they like a future book she writes or something like that, but they may recoil going, hey, listen, we just don't feel comfortable because if we get into some kind of dispute, you're going to go public and start bashing us publicly. And we don't know if we want to be in that kind of business. And again, let me double down on this. We are talking from a position of ignorance because we don't know what the actual issues are. We can only address and kind of speculate around what little information we actually have in front of us. And from the little bits of information we have in front of us, I got to tell you, I got to question the wisdom on her part of coming out and like seemingly attacking the actress and attacking the project as a whole, when I think this might be a bad move for her personally. Anyway, Chris, you saw this.
Yeah.
We don't often, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this, but it's certainly not often. What were your first impressions when you read through this? What are the first kind of questions or issues that come to your mind when you see this?
No, yeah, this was one of those movies that I was curious about because I had heard the CinemaCon buzz. I mean, I think you guys could speak to it more. I think there was a whole panel on that, and it sounded kind of exciting and interesting. I know nothing about it. And so when you see something like this arise, immediately you want to go into what happened. And it's very vague and there's not much on it. The only things I could pick up from the article is it definitely was something behind the scenes, I guess from the studio standpoint, that they couldn't just agree on. And she felt the need to walk away. And it is something that's because like you said, it's gonna hurt any chances she has in her other books, moving on with other studios, and something like this is only gonna also just hurt the fan base because once the author is no longer involved, that hurts the movie. And I guess it's more when we see the trailer how much has been changed, if we can note from any differences there, or if it literally just was something maybe so specific on it. Sometimes you never know how much with the creators, how much they hold precious the material, and when it has to be adapted into a movie, any little change, hurts them. So to me, it's just sad to see.
Rob, you saw this again. Not the first time we've seen something along these lines. Like it's certainly happened with Alan Moore. It's happened with others at times. This is a YA novel, though, where I think it's a little bit more sticky when the author themselves is kind of against it. I don't know. What's your takeaway from this when you look at the situation?
Well, here's the thing. I always say it's not show friends, it's show business. And actually, I don't say that. I stole that, just to be clear, from Jerry Maguire, from Bob Sugar. The character of Bob Sugar said it, and I always liked it, and I said, that's true. The problem is, John, when somebody is going to buy your book, and presumably because it's a hit book, give you a lot of money, and then they're going to spend tens of millions of dollars on bringing that book to reality, you haven't just signed contracts for your book and your material. You're entering a covenant. You're now a business partner of Paramount and of the studio. I think that's implicit into signing a contract with a company, and obviously we have seen the whole history of Hollywood is fraught with creative disagreements and creative peril. That's part of what you're doing, but that when you're signing away your material. Now, this is the first book in a series, and I would assume that Paramount was hoping to develop this series. And it's not only a series, but it's a series of books that has a specific, you're dealing with a Nigerian American author. She's bringing a lot of her own culture and background into this story. So there's a lot more to it than that as well. And I find kind of what you're doing here, because you're putting the studio itself, you're putting the people that made your movie, that paid you money, who have shelled out a lot of monetary. There's a lot of green spread out on this project. And by you doing this, you're flying in the face of all of the goodwill that is given to you and the money and the business of what you're doing. You immediately are going public with the beef that tarnishes the entire project. And what about everybody else working on this movie? What about the crew? What about the hundreds of people that are going to work on this film? Don't you owe them something? Or are you going to what about the director? Are you going to condemn them and everything that they've done before anyone's seen anything about this movie and the public is just left to speculate about what's going on? I think if nothing else, it's bad business. And I think, I don't know if it's actionable. I don't know what the studio would do, but I do know that you have an obligation, usually contractually, to promote a project. And I don't understand what is gained by this. And I feel for the crew, although we don't know what happened. She could have been egregiously wronged. And I'm willing to submit that could very well have happened. But, I mean, she's putting herself into a very precarious position, I would say.
Yeah, and again, just to repeat for the third time, it's something Rob was just alluding to as well. We could find out tomorrow what actually happened behind the scenes, and all of us would be like, forget all of it. F them. Like, she's 100% right. Like, we simply don't know. Again, we are only, speculating, commenting on what actual information we have. And on the surface, it doesn't look like a smart move at this point on several levels.
By the way, a little bit more background I'm seeing here. The book received one of the the young adult book received one of the most lucrative, the biggest YA publishing deals ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list for young adults, and the novel received mostly positive reviews. Critics wrote about its examination of oppression, racism, and slavery, and the coming of age as the characters discover their abilities and see the world through their actions. It's considered quite an impressive feat. So this actually makes me excited to read the book, but I really hope it all works out. I just don't think that this kind of thing needs to be done in public.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? The author of the books is saying, not only am I not going to go see this, but she publicly said, I told the actors, don't text me, don't ever call me, don't ever use my name. Like, it's making it pretty public and pretty vitriol. Anyway, whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.